Okay, well, that worked. I didn't know how it would go. I've been trying to figure out how to do that for a while. Well, guys, welcome to the Southside boys. And yes, we are back in the same, and we're back in the normal spot as last week. I was in my car and we did the best we could here. But shout out to Deech and shout out to Eric that joined us and gave us all that great intel that helped us have a good episode last week. But we're back here to talk about the week that was and everything else that I didn't get a chat about the last week when. Yeah. But let's get Deech and Justin in here and let's start talking about some White Sox baseball. So, Deech, I don't know, Deech said bye. Let's get Justin in here.
Hey, what's up,
Justin,
Tino?
what's up?
How you doing, brother?
Now it's
Man, just fine. There he is.
What's up, Deech? You didn't want to come in at that time?
Yeah, no, I have no idea what happened. It glitched.
I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll do. Wait, I figured. So, how you guys doing? It's been a week, and I appreciate you too. And Eric taking over last week as I was in my car trying to do my best to drive back home. So, how's the week been, and how's everybody doing since last week?
Been good, man. Short week, so that's always nice. And yeah, taking it easy.
I did not remember that it was Memorial Day until like last week. I was like, wait, oh yeah, it's Memorial Day. It just doesn't feel the same like it used to. And everything's finally open out here in Wisconsin because obviously they wait till Memorial Day, and so now everything,
Right.
all the pools and water parks and shit, and there's so many people now, and I kind of just forgot. But anyway, White Sox baseball. It's been a fun week. They won 2 out of 3 against the Rangers. They could have swept, but Jordan Leisure is a great pitcher, not. And then, honestly, I didn't really expect too much from the Mets. I know you guys kind of talked about it last week, but, I mean, them at least winning the game yesterday and salvaging the one game last year, we definitely would have gotten swept. And so, definitely has been nice to see. So, Justin, I'll get your reaction of the last week and everything. And if you actually semi-enjoyed watching it, it is only a 2-3 game different from last year, but I don't know. It feels like they're like 10, 15 games better.
Yeah, I keep trying to think about why it feels that way, because it really isn't a massive difference in record. I mean,
differential. They showed that. I was like, oh my, it was like 100 and something last year. This time it's now.
I'm trying to think of the game. I think it was probably the one they lost, or the first game they lost to the Mets on Monday, and I had the thought, like, is this team actually more enjoyable, or do I just hate the players less than I hate when they lose games like they lost on Monday? That was like the fucking 2-1 game, right?
Yeah.
And
the sacrifice flies.
Yeah, and so I don't know, but I think that you have enough hope where you haven't moved off all the guys that are on the team. I think that's a big part of it. I think the starting rotation is legitimately solid. That helps. That goes a really long way when you're not watching guys go out there and just have dog shit outing after dog shit outing. So I think that's probably been my favorite part is the starting pitching. That was what I was highest on the team on coming in. Obviously wasn't going to be the offense or the bullpen, so it's got to be something. It's a relative strength of the team. You have guys who, I mean, Miguel Vargas is hitting as well as anybody on the Sox has. I mean, since Luis Robert 2 years ago when he had his, one really solid year. And it's nice when you have guys come up to the plate and you're confident that they can do something. That's a little bit relieving too.
Yeah. Deech, how are you feeling before I say what I got to say about everything?
It's a better experience to watch this team than it has been the past 2 years. And like Justin, it's a lot of it is just the turnover. You don't have to watch the same guys that you knew which appeared to be kind of dogging it half the time. The plate appearances by almost everyone in the lineup way better than we've seen. I mean, even in talking about the starting pitching is putting us in a position to win most ball games. The bullpen is very bad. Now, I don't necessarily blame them for not investing in the bullpen, although Eric pointed out last week, bullpen arms are big trade chips at the deadline. So, I mean, minimally, you think next year, buck up a little. I'm not saying go crazy and go get like.
I think that's exactly what it should be. I think next year should be like, especially if everybody gets through healthy and everybody can like continue. I think if we get a bullpen, I think if we had Liam Hendricks as our closer, we probably win a couple more games this year. It's like, it's just you need somebody.
2025 Liam Hendricks.
Well, no, I'm just saying like somebody. No, I'm just saying like Liam Hendricks, like
A real closer.
Yeah, like an actual closer that was like they can actually go out there and have that mentality to know that he can get those 3 outs, because you can see Vassell and he has that kind of thing, but they always say it, the last 3 outs in a baseball game are so difficult that it's very rare pitchers that can do that. And Liam Hendricks was one of them. No, I do not want to. 2025 Liam Hendricks.
It's the last.
I don't want nobody from that team this year. Shit, we'll talk about it later, but there was another guy that just got released and they're dropping like flies. So.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the closer is it's the last thing you add, which is exactly what they did with Liam Hendricks. They went to the playoffs in 2020, lost, and then
Liam Hendricks.
Yeah, to Liam Hendricks.
Remember, he closed out that game.
Like one of the defining moves of the offseason that year was bringing him in to solidify the back end of the bullpen. So I see it both ways. It's a great point about trade chips that Eric made last week. That's incredibly true. But it's also like we would have done a lot of bitching in the offseason if it was like, here we go, just spending all the money on, and like,
yeah.
That Craig Kimbrell trade is what did it for me. That just traumatized
and
me.
Also too, when they're asking to protect 1-0 leads like they were on Monday, like, I mean, it's frustrating, and you'd hope to win a couple of those. They're not going to because the bullpen isn't good, but they're being asked to, there's a lot of games that they are not scoring runs.
No. And that's been the biggest thing, because on Monday, if they score 2 or 3 runs, they probably it's easier to give up one, and you don't have that much pressure, where like we don't have that guy that's gonna go out there and be able to hold it down, to where like these guys are trying to figure it out. And the game that Deech and I went to, because we weren't here because I wasn't here last week, Jordan Leisure got out of I remember, I think there was bases loaded, 1 out, and he got out of it. We were walking around trying to find the Pope statue thing, but I remember saying it, and I was talking to my cousin, and I was like, watch, they're going to put him into another situation, and literally Monday it was that situation, and he's just not that guy that's going to be able to go out there and do it, and he's proven it. I remember when Elijah was on here, and Jordan was still in the minors, and he's talking about how he's going to be this great reliever and everything, and sometimes it's just not that, like, it's not his, like, that's not where he wants, that's where he, some guys are just better in the 7th, 8th, 9th, and everything else like that, so it's more or less finding that guy. I want somebody like Vassell that every time he throws a strikeout at the end of the inning that just goes insane and goes crazy, because I love that energy. And seeing Miguel Vargas having an average jump up 200 points since he made that swing change, and having everything, and the fact that they showed like this morning, I think it was this morning, MLB, his first 60 games, he was batting 119. In the last 34, he's batting like 318 or something like that. So it's really nice to note and see the adjustments that they're being able to do and make. And it's been a lot, even at the game that we went to, Deech, I feel like yes, we lost, but last year that game would have been like, it was enjoyable. We got a couple of home runs and everything else like that, where that's been the biggest thing for me. They're in the games. It's coming down to the last minute, at least, where it's not last year. Like, we were getting killed. And like the Rockies right now are 9-47. They have a run differential of negative. They have a worse run differential than the Sox did. And I can't even imagine, like, I thought last year was bad I would not want to be a Rockies fan right now. So I think altogether it's starting to become fun to be a White Sox fan again. And, I think it just has a lot to do. And hopefully we're moving in the right direction with a lot of these guys. So let's talk about a pitcher, though. Was it last weekend against the Rangers, or was it against the Mets that he made his debut? Adrian Hauser?
He's had 2 starts. He
pitched against the Mets, and then he also pitched last week against Seattle, I think.
Oh, that's right. It was the Tuesday game. That's right. My Chicago trips, I swear, always like blend into me. Like, I forget what day. You're right. It was Tuesday because it was the one that we won. So, man, this guy coming out of nowhere. How do you feel about this one, Deech? And I mean, it's nice to have somebody else besides the Shane Smith to kind of try to rely on in the rotation right now.
I mean, he's looked very good in both of his starts. He looked better, I thought, again. I mean, he was just spotting everything against the Mets, and that's not an easy lineup to necessarily navigate. It's a good sign. I don't think Martin Perez is going to be back in enough time to necessarily build any trade value, so you may be stuck with him through the year. So Hauser, if he can slide it, I'm not saying he. What'd you say?
I said they probably ain't gonna come back till July, right?
Well, that's my point. You're going to probably just be stuck with him or have to DFA him, so you can't really use him as a trade chip anymore. But if Hauser can take the ball every 5 days and just give you quality starts, he'll get you something likely at the deadline. They're not going to just hold on to him, I don't foresee. But that's nice because it should stop all the bullshit rumors of like, let's trade fucking Davis Martin or Shane Smith because we just need more prospects. And I
There's not
think
actually advocating to trade Shane Smith, right? I mean,
Even Davis Martin, man.
there are.
well, if you look in the nooks and crannies, you're going to find everything.
No, I'm saying there's
people
actual
who know
White
what the
Sox
hell they're talking.
podcasts that are sitting there like pushing this narrative of like trade him.
But like that's the thing. It's like Justin, like run support. Like obviously, like like the guys that are up right now that are gonna be here, like Chase and Edgar and stuff like that, are doing it. But like you give Davis Martin a couple more run support, we win that game that he's pitched. He pitched 7-8 innings the last 2-3 games, and we've given him 4 or 5 run support. I mean, yesterday for Shane Smith, we give him 5, and the poor guy couldn't get out of the 4th because the pitch count just got up and gave up that 3-run home run, and that's gonna.
Yeah, then that's just water finding its level though. For all the times he's gone out there given a quality start and they haven't.
So it's just that's the thing. Like we score a couple more runs, we're getting a couple more wins, and again, we're only 2-3 games better this year. But I mean, 13-39 feels better than 15 and whatever the fuck they were because, yeah, it just like and it's crazy. Like and it just. Watch it, and it seems like even watching the guys like Robert, even too, like watching him run down first base and try to beat out and out, and not watching the guys fall over and do front flips every other day is really nice too. Where like it's nice, and it's also nice and helpful that we got Ben Attendee and Mike Talkman back. So
I see so many people shitting on Ben Attendee on Twitter. That is something that I do see. I don't understand that at all. It's first of all, it's fault that he's the biggest contract that they ever handed out. That's not his fault. He's not setting the world on fire, and I get the frustration of being stuck with the money because you can't move him. But like, he homered again yesterday. I mean, they'd already put the game away, but it always seems like the professional on the team.
He had 4 RBIs yesterday too. I mean, it's not like he's not producing. I don't get that either. Even as I will say, defensively, I'm not saying that he's great, but he's actually putting in work. He's not like as noodle arm and taking terrible routes to balls like he was last year. He's at least when he is out there. Granted, I think a lot now they're just DHing him. He might still be dinged up, but what do you want out of the guy? I mean, when we signed him, no one thought he was going to hit like 30 fucking home runs. I mean, if he hits us 20 home runs and hits 80 RBIs, I'm fine.
I mean, when they signed him, and that's before, they say he dealt with injuries the past whatever, but yeah, I mean, that's about what I would have expected. I mean, when they signed him, it wasn't like you said, it wasn't like, oh my God, here comes the guy to save the team. When they signed him, it was kind of like, okay. And his performance has been kind of like, okay, like it's very much fit. The money they gave him and the fact that that's the biggest contract they've ever handed out, you got to keep that. That's a them problem. That's not a him problem.
I completely agree.
You're not wrong on that one, and that's the thing. I mean, he's just taking the money, and again, this is what he's always been when he was in the Royals, when he was with the Red Sox.
His career high homers is like 20. Like if those figures you just gave would like be near career highs.
Exactly. And again, like that.
And he wasn't brought in to be like the power bat. It was just a quality guy who was going to give you good at bats in the lineup and will hit some out. I mean, I don't know. I think we're stuck with him at least till like the last year of his contract. I don't foresee them.
He said he wants to retire a White Sox, or well, not retire, but he wants to finish his career as a White Sox. So he might be the left fielder until he's done. And
we're in what, year 3 of 5?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to be realistically competing for anything in the duration of that contract, I don't think. I mean, you might get maybe the second half of his last year is when they start like, oh, look at them. Like, it could be on the up and up, so there's...
He's going to be a trade piece in 2020.
Now, if he's a trade piece in 2027, that means he's playing well. And if he's playing well in 2027, I'd hope that they're not looking to sell.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I don't 27's what next year is like a pipe dream of like if everything went well and they do in fact spend, and I'm not saying crazy money, but if you go add 2 bats that can solidify like the middle of your lineup, there are pieces there that
They could compete for
you
a
can
cup.
at least see a new core, and the core that we have now is not guys who are just going up there and putting together shit at bats. I mean,
Who's the
Chase
walk
generally
rate?
has quality at bats. Caro has good at bats. Baldwin, people are already bitching for him to get called up again because he's hitting like 417 in AAA.
They haven't
I
learned
feel
from
like, I feel like at
or
some
a
point those guys just are hitting beach balls out there because
well, there's just been so many examples of guys being 4A players, and nobody's ever going to learn. Like nobody should be blown away by how a guy who's spent as much time in the majors as Baldwin has, lighting it up in AAA is like, yeah, I mean, this guy's faced major league pitching.
yeah, yeah, that's and I mean Tim and that's the other thing. I've since last week since I wasn't here, Mr. Tim Alco got sent down, and that's the thing. He's today. I think they had like 5 runs in the first second, and then he had an RBI or a 2-run RBI or something like that. And that's the thing. I mean, it's more about just trying to figure it out because again, I think people always forget how much different the majors are to the minors, to where like you said with Baldwin, he probably thinks the minors are easy now. He's like, dang, this stuff is easy after having to face all these MLB pitchers that he's had to face for the last year and a half and everything else like that. And I think for the first time, it feels like the Sox actually have some type like that. I don't know why, but that Charlotte lineup I was looking at today, like they had that actually looks like it would be like a major league team, especially when Vaughn's in there. It's like, and that's the other thing too.
Not a good one.
Have you guys felt like the team is playing better without Vaughn? Because I don't know. It feels like that's another guy that's off of that team that like with like Anderson and Moncada. And I don't know. Maybe like
No, I don't know if that's so. It's tough because I don't know if that's more of like a. I don't know if the guys in the clubhouse feel it as much as the fans do with that one. Like for us, it's very easy to be like, "Oh, the vibe is better," and especially because they came out and won Friday and Saturday right after they sent him down, and it's so easy for fans because we're so like, yeah, it's we want to distance ourselves from anybody we
blame
associate
anything.
that. But I don't know if the guys in the clubhouse feel the same way. I think they're better without him because he's not in the line because he doesn't have to go up there to get bats. But I do want to get your thoughts on this, Deej. I don't like them moving Vargas to first base. I thought he was playing a really good third base. I don't know why they're insistent on getting Rojas in the lineup. I don't know this fixation on you need to have one infielder in the lineup who just can't fucking hit the ball. They get rid of Jacob Amaya, which everyone's happy, and now it's like Rojas being forced on us. It feels like. What do you think about that? Because I thought Vargas had actual defensive value at third base, and now they're just kind of messing with him and have him. I don't know where he played every game in the Mets series, but was it him or Sosa who didn't have the bag the other night?
I was there. That was on Sunday. That was Sosa. And apparently Will Venable like chewed Sosa's ass out in the dugout after that play.
Well, good.
Good. I grabbed him by the ear and like
yeah,
and
actually,
I
did.
Today, he's still 25 years old.
Sosa?
Yeah. I didn't know he was that young.
Jeez, I didn't know either. I wouldn't have gotten that one. I think he's I think he's a quality. I think he's the utility guy on a legitimate contender.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I don't know his years of control. I mean, maybe he's a trade chip. I don't necessarily think they'll trade him, but he's one of those guys where they may eventually have to decide, should we trade him only because at a certain point he no longer has a place on the. I don't think he has any options left to go to the minors. But in regards to the whole, I think the big statement about Vargas playing first, I don't necessarily think it's great, but I don't know what their plan is for Colson Montgomery. I don't know if a lot of fans seem to point towards he's never going to be a true shortstop, and that he may be a third baseman. I think the versatility is nice. I don't think Vargas was playing a bad third base at all. I mean, some of his plays were very Yoan-esque, where it was like, damn, he got that one. Like, I'm a little shocked here. His arm can be a bit off sometimes. There's some throws he's had that I haven't been overly fond of, where he doesn't necessarily get himself set, which was obvious. Yoan was good at not doing that. Like being on the run and just like gunning people out. So
no footwork whenever he planted to throw. It was a step. I can still picture it. It's like he never learned.
It's so bad, isn't it?
But I think the big thing with having no actual first baseman on the team right now, and we semi-touched on this last week, is I asked Eric, does he think Elko has a chance of being part of like the future whatsoever? And Eric pretty much said no. He could see him literally being DFA'd after the season or not being on the team. I think it's a pretty big statement that you were like, I'd rather play people out of position than fucking even try and build any trade value for Vaughn. I don't know how long they're going to keep Vaughn down. I'm guessing it won't be very long to see if they can flip him at the deadline. But I mean, that to me was a pretty big statement by Chris Gatz. I didn't think he would necessarily do that. I knew Elko would probably go down at some point just because he had options. But Vaughn, I mean, people have been clamoring for him to go down since last year when they were like, he still has an option, where it's like, well, I mean, we're paying him $6 million, so fucking sending him to Charlotte to do that isn't really, I mean,
he hit a home run, so good for him. Maybe he'll get his swing back. And I also did not know when you guys were talking about that, and Eric mentioned about the years for the options. I thought it was like you get sent down, you get called up. That's an option. I didn't know it was the years. That was really interesting. That like, I don't know.
No, because who is it? Danny Mendick or Rami Gonzalez? They used to fucking like have just like continuously going back to, I mean, he would have ran out of options in 1 year. I mean,
it didn't comprehend with me all the way. So when he said that, I was like, oh, okay, that all makes sense now. So, but yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, I think they just love playing people out of position, and maybe they just felt like Tim wasn't ready. But I mean, I felt like when he was there, and Deech, you even mentioned, he's like, well, it's either a strikeout or a home run. And it's like, that's
what they knew it was going to be when they called him up. That was my only thing, is like, I wasn't too surprised by him going back down either, Deech. I mean, surprised to see him go with Vaughn, like your two first basemen. But like, what? I mean, isn't that they got? I mean, he was exactly what they thought he would be, or what anybody who thought about it logically thought he was going to be. But they don't hit a lot of home runs, so I think there's a spot for a guy like him. I mean, at least he hits a ball in the air. Andrew Vaughn just, everything's a ground out.
That's the only thing I can't figure out is what their vision is necessarily moving forward. I don't know if they're doing this to, I mean, maybe they're trying to show off Sosa and think they can get something for him. And I think it just comes down to the options players have left. They clearly wanted Vaughn to go down. I don't really know anyone else who necessarily has options in the infield that they could have sent down other than Elko.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like fans get a little. There were too many people who were very upset about him going down, where it's just like, just shut the fuck up already. I mean, I'm just sorry. Like, just shut the fuck up.
People are just trying to hold on to something. Like it was the Pope thing for a minute, and then it's something else.
Dude, I realized yesterday, and look, I was upset about that trade, and I still am, and I do love Jake, but the National Burger Day post that the Sox did, and the comments on it, like, some people need to seek professional help. You cannot be that. You can. There were some upset folks in there about, like, it's okay, guys. I mean, I didn't want him traded either, because same thing with Elko. It's like, I understand that no one else on this team can hit home runs, and it's good to have guys like that. And that was a horrible trade, but in the grand scheme of everything they've put us through,
that's
pretty outrageous to still be like triggered by that.
I mean, White Sox Twitter just needs to calm the hell down, because all these fans are going to be driving people away from the way they acted now with all these people, especially, man, White Sox fans, leave people alone and stop quote tweeting every message and post that people post about things, and stop being obsessed with players and fans. Oh, it's annoying. Can we act normal and just root for a baseball team? For real. Again, like I don't understand. It's just like with like like there's certain players that like I miss and I'm upset about. What am I gonna do? Get mad about? Like it's stupid. I don't understand. Jake Berger's playing for the Rangers. He hit a home run. Congratulations. Like get over it.
There's more. Okay. Not to get into past players too much here. I'm just gonna point out that fucking home run by Gavin Sheets yesterday, where he like just the swing. It was like fuck yeah, it had me
That's the one
riled
where
up.
backed up into the other batter's box.
Yeah, it was. I mean, do you want to be
Did that
mad
bring
about
back the
something?
Gavin
Be
Baum
mad
shit?
that Chris Getz chose fucking Andrew Vaughn over that guy who's now homered 11 times, and everyone keeps claiming he's gonna fall off. He's still hitting like 280 or something like that. You want to be mad?
you
Go
also
fucking be
see
mad
that
about that. But like Jake Berger, he's been gone for 2 years. Just shut the fuck up already. Let it the fuck go. I mean, that's like being mad that Rick Hahn's not the GM still. Like no one fucking cares.
I mean, like I just don't understand that. I mean, I just that was good. That was fun. You're not wrong though, and that's the thing with Gavin Sheets. I mean, he did come out with an article that did say in an interview that said that Chicago ruined the love of the game for him and blah blah blah, and a change of scenery is probably what he needed. And it's just one of those things that it sucks to watch it, but you know what? Good for him. And it's nice to see him actually show the potential that I think as a left-handed hitter we all knew that he had and he's shown, but consistently he was never able to do it. So
That laser that he hit out the other night in Atlanta, that was something.
man, he
He went
Yeah.
and got that one like down and in and just shot it out to right. That was, I mean, he's got a beautiful swing. He always has. I mean, they were fucking playing him in right field. It's like they never even gave him a fucking chance.
I mean, they did, but then he dropped the ball and it went over. You remember when it bounced off his mitt? That was fun.
In
Yeah,
right
but
field.
I'm just saying
He
you're
wasn't an
fucking-
outfielder.
They were sitting there so obsessed with Andrew Vaughn. Andrew Vaughn's the future. Andrew Vaughn. I don't know. It's very frustrating. Especially this was my point. Regardless of like what the Sox viewed the two players, when you have a random guy who used to be in the minor league system just randomly decide one night to like pop off on Twitter and be like Andrew Vaughn like didn't do shit this offseason and just like stood there with two dumbbells during his workouts and is like essentially just like insinuating how lazy and lack of effort. Was that not visible by the front office, or are you just like we can't portray to the fan base that we gave up on a first round draft pick? I like that's where I'm in question of why like I don't know.
They're loyal to a fault. That's a top-down issue in the organization. And this is just one of the million examples. They drafted him. They feel like they owe him to give him the opportunity. The opportunity has been given to him. I mean, he got the same pass I just gave Gavin Sheets for a couple of years. They're playing him out of position. How can you expect this guy to be fully acclimated to the major leagues when they're sending him out there to fucking left field to and just praying, which is just insane when you think about how slow he is. That I mean, it's almost a fever dream to even think about the fact that they used to send him out to the outfield. I mean, it's actually unbelievable. But he doesn't have that pass anymore. Now he has, that's why I like when people come forward and talk about the dysfunction. There needs to be attention needs to be brought to it because that's the only way things ever get changed. So I don't know. We got off on a pretty bad tangent there, but
yeah, to reel back in before Justin goes, I wanted to hit on the inconsistency of the bullpen. Obviously, Jordan Leisure has been a subject of discussion amongst a bunch of people. Before we get into the negative part of Jordan Leisure, I was told to go look at his Savant page and be a little nerdy about it. His stuff actually plays quite well. I just don't think the high leverage positions they keep putting him in is what's best for him. So I'm trying to not be like a full blown hater, although I cringe every time they currently have him like warming up to like hold a 1-run lead. But look at Miguel Vargas. I don't know. Vargas, everyone was like DFA him, or not everyone. the weird spectrum of White Sox Twitter that Justin doesn't follow was like DFA Vargas when he started the season off slow here, and now everyone's like, oh my God, he's gonna be our all-star and all this shit. So maybe it's just adjustments need to be made, but overall the bullpen, I know you mentioned Vassell too, Tino. I clearly don't think they're letting him just be the full-blown closer. If anything, maybe Boozer to see if he can build trade value and be the next Tanner Banks this year. But Vassell, they're throwing for like multi-inning outings.
Yeah.
He threw what, 3 yesterday?
Yeah, well, and he pitched the 8th inning a couple days ago, and I think he almost had an immaculate inning. He pitched like 11 or 12 pitches, and everything was getting across the plate.
So, and then just before we get everyone's opinion, I did want to point out, and I saw this before the show, Miguel Castro, they didn't specify what his injury was, but he's out for the year with something in his leg. So they're going to need to make a move before tomorrow. I think it's going to be James Karinchak. There's zero reason to rush any of these young arms up. Karinchak may sit, you flip him at the deadline. I used to hate when he pitched for Cleveland. I mean,
he's the king of the poster child of the sticky stuff.
Yeah, and he was a fucking spaz on the mound too. Just his like windup was very not fully Clevenger, but it was Clevenger-esque where you're just like, God damn it, this is kind of annoying to watch, but
yeah. Yeah, no, I was no fan of his, that's for sure.
Well, that sucks because you guys see. I don't know if you guys were watching the game yesterday. You see the way his foot went. It will go away. Thank God he got the out. Thankfully, and like good for him to like have that like awareness to do that and everything. Man, that leg went like sideways, and it just did not look like it felt very good at all. And you knew right away there was something wrong.
I didn't see it. But I did see the reports about him being hurt. I did not know until Deitch just said that he was out for the season.
But yeah, we'll let Justin. Let's hear it. What do you do with the bullpen? I know you're not a fan of Jordan Leisure. Let's hear it all.
I don't even know. This is an unsavable situation, in my opinion. I mean, I would sit here and give you an answer that I feel like I'm the smartest guy in the room and say, oh, they need to do this. But if it wasn't Leisure in the big spots, it would just be someone else not getting it done. I know you're a Steven Wilson guy. You know, I don't mind Eisert. But I don't. They're the closer in the late. They not only don't think they have the closer, I don't think they have their setup man. I don't even know if they have a 7th inning man. I truly just think that you're looking at one of the worst bullpens they've ever had, and that they're really. I don't think there's an answer that not even fan fiction could write a way to save it. You have to trust that if they had a real option, that they would be going after it. I would love to see Karinchak come up and see what he's got still. Maybe he's found himself, taking a few years away from the sticky stuff. But I don't know. Well, I truly wish I had an answer.
The only other guy that's still on the 40-man, so it wouldn't be necessarily a roster move, although if you put Castro on the 60-day IL, you can sit and add someone to the 40-man roster anyways. But the other guy, someone mentioned this yesterday, Winkelman Gonzalez, who was the kind of final touching piece on the Garrett Crochet trade. He's technically on the 40-man. He's been pitching. I believe he got brought up to AAA. So I mean, he's an option, but the bullpen it's not enjoyable after. It's not as bad as last year where you just turn the game off after the starter left. So if it was a Garrett Crochet second half of the season where he pitched like 2 innings and you're just like, well, fuck, there goes the other 7 innings I'm not going to watch because the bullpen's not going to hold this. But it's not comfortable. Anytime it's a close game, you're just like, God, please don't blow it. Please don't blow it. Vassell and Steven Wilson are really the two I feel necessarily most comfortable with. Boozer has good stuff, but there's just sometimes where it's just like, why did you just leave that fastball right down the middle of the plate?
he's out there, and I'm just like, dude, what? Like, I mean, you just said it perfectly. Like, what were you trying to get past this guy? This is a professional hitter, Major League Baseball. You can't get, but whatever.
So, Tino, any other comments to add on the bullpen?
I mean, don't you guys feel like this has been like this since we've been White Sox fans? I feel like yesterday when we were winning 9-4, I was like, oh shit, something bad's gonna happen. I'm like, here we go. I until that last out, I can never trust anybody. And I mean, that's the thing. I mean, with the bullpen, I mean, you hit it right on the head. There's certain guys that we can trust. Like there's certain days, like Boozer went out there and pitched that 8th inning and got everything over the plate, and then he comes out the next day and can't get one ball over the plate. So it's just like that's the thing where it's just obviously right now we don't have anybody that we can really trust except those few players that, as you said, I don't know why that stuck into my head, but every time the starter comes out, I hear that in my head. It's like, oh shit, the game's over. Turn it off. And I obviously keep it on, but it just every time, and you're absolutely most of the time you're right, and it's sad because even when we do have like a lead, like yesterday we had 5-0, and all of a sudden it was 5-3. But when the White Sox are losing 5-0, it feels like we're never gonna score a run. And it's like
they're just bad. That's what
make
it is.
it look so easy. Like other teams, just the score runs make it look so easy, and the White Sox make it look so difficult. Where when they hit runners in scoring position, we see what happened like yesterday. We got two-run singles and two-run RBIs in the first 2 innings or first inning. So.
The thing with the bullpen is they're trying to do it based off a matchup. So they'll throw Boozer in there when it's like he's going to face 2 lefties like to start. And then he'll walk the first one where it's like, well, fuck. I mean, the point of you coming in was to pitch to the 2 lefties, not to put the first fucking guy on. So, I mean, that's where I get a little frustrated. The walks have been. I mean, even Shane Smith yesterday, he just didn't have his control necessarily. I don't know. I think it was like 4 or 5 walks he had. But he still limited the damage. That's where it's like, you can't even be mad. He's a rookie. There's going to be growing pains. It just kind of is what it is at this point. It's not like we are necessarily like, oh, we were 2 games out of the wild card and Shane Smith had a bad start. It's like, we suck. Like, learn, grow from like your experience this year. Cause like once we get good, like we're going to need you to step it up. That's kind of how I just see it here. So
we're playing for the last place in the AL this weekend though. Aren't you excited?
The fucking O's pitching is so bad. Did you look at like all of their starters have like over a 5 ERA that we're facing? I was like, I didn't realize how bad it was.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with them. And if you want, do you want to just go into that series now?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna hop before we get into the.
Yeah,
I do think they'll take the series in Baltimore this weekend because that's just the kind of year the O's are having. They got the bad vibes. We somehow have not terrible vibes. So
that's great. That's great.
All about
not terrible vibes.
All about
an optimistic Justin on his way out here. I don't know if it's the concert that has you optimistic or
it might be.
I'm just going by what the people are saying.
Well, Justin, have fun at your concert, bro. Appreciate it, and see you next
time. Peace out, boys. Go Sox.
Hey, there you go. Love to see it. Man, I need to go to a concert. My mom took me to a concert last week when I got back here. And it was like these 2 older ladies, and I didn't know who the hell they were. It was like an 80s concert, and I was the only guy there. I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
I enjoy concerts if it's music I listen to.
That's nice. I want to go to a concert that I listen to people like,
Yeah.
So. But the Baltimore Orioles, man, they suck.
Yeah.
They are the perfect I can't speak. You know what I'm saying. Representation still can't say it. But they are the perfect thing to just, you could be great one year and you could literally be one of the worst teams in baseball the next, where it's just like they should have traded for Garrett Crochet. They should have traded for Dylan Cease. They should have traded for 2 to 3 pitchers and not being cheap because the way their hitters were great. And now they're talking about trading Cedric Mullins. I heard somebody saying and possibly trading Cedric Mullins to the White Sox. I was like, huh? Like, it's sad that the Orioles are now becoming that because they did not invest in any pitching. Like we were talking about the bullpen and everything like that.
Okay,
Like the
well, I'm just on the opposite side of that. It's a good thing they didn't fucking trade for Garrett Crochet or Dylan Cease because, no offense, none of their hitting prospects that everyone was fucking gung ho over, like the Kobe Mayos and the Heston Kjerstads, they're not doing anything. Where, I mean, Miguel Vargas looks like the best out of the three of them if you put him in a room
isn't
right
Colby
now.
on the? Didn't we just face Colby? I think he got traded on the Angels. No, it's the Angels
No,
or Red Sox. I don't know. I thought he no. I
no,
don't know.
Kobe Mayo's still in Baltimore.
Who the hell am I thinking of? I don't know. There was some
The
prospect that was really.
Brewers have
Was it the
Joseph
Brewers?
Ortiz, I
I
think.
don't remember. Well, yeah, and I agree with you. Thank God, because if we did trade them to, if we did
Yeah,
trade
then
Garrett
everyone would be
Crochet,
bitching.
we
Chris
would not
Getz
have
picked the
chased
wrong
my
guy.
trophy. You know that's John Schiffer's boy, man. Chase my draft, man. He's gonna do it. But I mean, that's the thing. But again, as an O's fan, I mean, I'd be pissed because I mean that's like what you were supposed to do, and thankfully for us, they didn't. And that's why I always say everything happens for a reason. Because again, everything happens, and every way it seems to work out. Like we traded for certain people and we got certain players, and then we use those players to get certain players, like Lucas Giolito. We never trade Lucas Giolito from the Nationals. We don't have Edgar Quero right now, and the way Edgar Quero looks, man, I love the way this man plays, and the fact he's 22 years old is just insane. So, White Sox and Orioles this weekend. How are we feeling about it? As you said, they got those awful pitchers with high ERAs, but they do still have the hitting, and you know it just that's the one thing that always scares me about that. But what do you think, and how do you see this weekend playing out? Because we are in Baltimore, right?
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be even bolder than Justin. They're gonna sweep them. It'll be they're gonna sweep them, dude.
Oh,
I honestly, I mean, the pitching matchups. If you look at them, I want to say it's Burke, Martin, then Hauser. You can
yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong,
yeah.
but
I know
like
Burke's.
their starting pitchers. I mean, the one dude. I don't even. Let me look here.
I got it. I'll do it right now. So we got Sean Burke and Zach Effen. Zach Effen was on the Phillies. He is 3-2 with the 5.40. Sean Burke is 3-5 with the 4.33. Saturday, we got Davis Martin and Dean Kramer. As Dean Kramer is 4-5 with the 5.02, and Davis Martin is 2-5 with the 3.45. And that's the thing too. I mean, if you look at even our ERAs compared to like last year, or even the run differential, like the run differential is literally like 45 runs better. And it's sad and it's insane to think about that we actually sat there and went through this. And then Sunday, you're right, it's Hauser against the old buddy, the former Tampa Bay Ray. He is 1-7 with a 7.09 ERA. Charlie Morton. I did not know this man was still in the MLB. I low-key thought he was out. Man,
Yeah.
remember when he was going to be one of the best pitching prospects in baseball? I remember facing him with the first couple of years on the Rays, man. With they had David Price's ass. They had oh god, that team. Anyway, so you say sweep, man. If the White Sox sweep, I'm throwing a party on Sunday because it'd be beautiful. And I don't know the last time the White Sox have swept, but if they can continue to take 2 out of 3 out of teams, that's that's the biggest thing. And obviously, as bad as April was, I feel like the White Sox will always not be great in April. I feel like they just need to find a way to get out of April at like 500 or a couple games. Like if when they're good and whatever, they could find that way. I think they'll be perfect because it seems like we always start off really bad, and then we get as the weather gets warmer and everything, and obviously everybody hits the ball and whatever. They actually learn how to and next year, White Sox need to get some effing revenge on those effing Chicago Cubs because I'm sick of them, man. PCA
They
needs to get.
still play him again this year.
I
3
understand
more
that.
games at the
I
rate.
know that. I'm just saying. I'm just fuck them. Fuck the Cubs. But yeah, Baltimore Orioles in Baltimore shall be a very interesting series. Also, do not forget these games start off early. We got a noon, a 3, and a 6:05 o'clock. I always forget about the time zones. But then after the weekend, we have a day off. No, we do not. We play 4 games against these MFers, and last time we faced them, they swept us. But now they come into Chi-Town, and it's the best team. Are they still the best team in the American League? The Detroit Tigers, 37-20.
I believe so.
So let's talk about it because White Sox, they need to get some revenge. Last time we faced them, I think it was the first weekend of the season. I think that's right. It was right after the Angel series, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And they just destroyed us. So we need to get some revenge. And the White Sox do play better at home. And I don't know what it is. Did you see that thing last Friday when they played that they have a run differential of like 30 now on Friday nights and they're 4-0 or 5-0? I'm like, sure, every night is Friday night. But how do you feel about these 4 games against the Tigers? And do you think that we could put up a better fight? And, I think the Tigers are kind of now finally coming down a little bit from how their hot streak was. And I always talk about it. Remember when the Tampa Bay Rays like 3-4 years ago started off with like the best record in all of the MLB or whatever, and then they all just like fell apart. I'm not saying the Tigers are going to fall apart, but there comes a time where the teams just, everybody goes through it, where they have really highs and they have really lows, unless you're just a really bad team and you have low, so. How do you feel
I
about
think
this?
with Detroit, they'll probably split this. If they can sweep Baltimore, they'll be riding high and probably split with Detroit. The big thing with Detroit is you just can't give them extra outs, and you can't give them. You can't just walk a bunch of them. I feel like the part of the issue with the Detroit series early on was our starting pitching was as a whole not overly um effective with throwing strikes. So I mean, they got a lot of fast guys on that team. You put a guy on first base, someone singles, it's a run. I mean, that's kind of how it goes.
That's what the Orioles have been doing to us, and I'm sure every other team for years. Especially last few years, we play Baltimore, and that's just been the biggest thing to where like they, and that's been the biggest thing as of late too with the extra outs. The games that they don't give extra outs are the games that we play really clean and everything. But the games like the Cubs game where it bounced off where it bounced off Chase's head, where it freaking went, it was the wind game, and I just, it just, I don't know, man. Pop flies give me anxiety now. Is it just like that? I've not obviously only been to Wrigley once. Is it just like that at Wrigley? Is that why? Is that just
What,
how
the
it is?
wind?
Yeah, because I don't know,
I
man.
mean, it's always kind of windy at Wrigley. Certain days it depends on the direction, and like if it's like swirling, that's when it causes issue. But it is what it is at this point. It's not like we're in a contention year, so you just move on from it.
Yeah, I know, but still, I mean, listen, it's the Cubs, man. You want to beat the Cubs, and they now have the series record. We don't want that. We need to we need to have
That
fun.
lineup's good though. The Sox gave
But it-
the Cubs a ton of extra outs that whole series, and when you sit and you have a lineup that's just mashing the baseball, like you're gonna get burned by it.
I know, man. They made it look fun. I hate that. And that's the thing with some teams. Like you watch some other teams and they are actually and the White Sox are starting to do that, but for like a while there, it was like I would go and watch other teams and it's just like why is it so difficult to do that? And even with Chris Getz and with Will Venable doing what he did with Lenine Sosa, like that's good. That's what they need to do because they all need to realize that they can't do this anymore. And this is a completely different thing that Chris Getz is trying to build. So we are a good baseball team again because man, when the city is good and when this team is good, everybody is, man. Shit, I saw a guy just random. I forgot where I was. I was at some random hotel and there was a bunch of people wearing White Sox stuff. Like they're White Sox fans. They just don't want to watch this shit. That's just for us. So, gotta love it. Anything else you want to talk about?
Uh, Not that I can think of. I'll shout out two of the guests we've had on. I actually met or went to the game with them this past Sunday. Damien.
My replacements, the new Southside boys. That's
Oh
right.
yeah, the new Southside boys, as you claim. Footlong and Damien. So that was fun. We almost saw the "Where Were You" when Vinny Capra almost walked it off. So
Man, when he hit that ball, I got so excited.
yeah.
Man, even when we were there, sometimes I don't know, man. Do you ever feel that way? Like when it hits off the batter, sometimes you think it's gonna go farther than I don't know. And I know you
I
move
mean, he
around.
hit that to the warning track. I was not expecting that at all.
I just and
Because
that's
I think
just
he took two pitches right down the dick of the plate to start the
yeah.
at bat, where you're just like, all right, bro. I mean,
Do
you could at
something.
least swing.
And we didn't even talk about him because he's been the guy that replaced Jacob Amaya, and he really hasn't, And that's just the thing. The White Sox have so many players, and we also really didn't talk about they traded Matt Thaiss to the Tampa Bay Rays, And they got Drew Baker, an outfielder, and he actually doesn't look like he will be that bad, but, it's such a White Sox thing. Speedy outfielder, and, hopefully he can hit the ball. But, I mean, that's kind of the trades I feel like we were getting because I forgot who I was looking at. Talkman. They were talking about trading Talkman, where it's like Talkman, since he's returned, has been very well and played a lot better. And that has been very beneficial to the lineup to now have that depth to where we're not starting certain guys and we can bring them off the bench to I know Michael A. Taylor's playing a lot lately still, but I don't
Michael
know.
A.
Michael
I
A.
said Michael A.
I never would I have thought that this guy would be on that team. So I don't know.
No, Talkman's gonna get flipped if he has any value. Apparently, he's still arbitration eligible, but I don't. They're not going to hold on to him at this point. I just don't see it. If you can get something out of him, I mean, if you can't get anything out of him, you hold him. But he's probably. I mean, he seems like now that he's healthy, he's probably going to be productive. So.
Yeah, 2 RBIs helped yesterday, and that's the thing. It's also nice to see a semi MLB lineup with guys that and it just. Hopefully it's going to the brighter side because it's been just not fun to watch baseball the last few years at all. Yes, Brandon Montgomery has been. He's had a bad. Well, man, what'd you expect? The man to continue to kill it like he was? I mean, he's gonna have a couple bad weeks. He's human. I feel like sometimes these people also forget that these are also just kids and 20-year-olds that are trying to live their dream. Sometimes I feel like people just get too much, like the Jake Berger thing and stuff like that. Like, people just get too much and too invested in this. And I get it with certain players, but it's not like Jake Berger brought us a World Series. He was on our team for 6 months and had a burger day. Just doesn't make sense to me, man. I go on and on about this, though. So, for now, I guess we'll end it here. It was another good week of White Sox baseball. Deech, I appreciate you as always, Justin. And, again, shout out to our guest and shout out to the guys that are trying to steal our spot, mine and Justin's spot with Deech on the Southside boys. We will not take it. For long and Damien. Anyway, I appreciate you guys as always. Go make sure you follow the Go follow the like button, Deech. Go hit that like button. Go subscribe. On the road to 100 on the Southside boys. 3,000. We are 25 away on Tino's time, guys. Go and hit that subscribe button. Also, shout out to the Main Event Network. Deech, I don't know if you saw, but when I got home last week, we did a 24-hour live stream, and I was live for 14 of those 24 hours. So, go check out the Main Event Network and go subscribe to them. But lastly, hit the like button on this episode. Subscribe to the Southside boys. Hit that notification button on so you know when we go live next. We'll be next Thursday for another week to talk White Sox baseball. Guys, enjoy your week, and we'll see you next time.